everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Sacred and Secure Pod. It's your girl, Chris. I'm excited for today's conversation because Ashley is someone who has experienced highs and lows, pivots and lessons, and growth that comes with life and career. Today, we're getting real about corporate life, evolving dreams, dating, confidence, all the things, and navigating what does your 40s actually look like. If you ever wondered whether you're left behind, starting over, or stepping into something new, this conversation is for you. Everyone, welcome Ashley Davis. Hey,
Hello.
girl. Okay, I just have to say, y'all, I'm not naked. I got on something just in case you can't see it. Okay, I'm not naked. Okay, but I'm not naked. Anyways, hey, girl, welcome. How you doing? How you
Hey.
doing?
I'm so blessed. I'm so
You
excited to
look
be
blessed,
here.
girl. Skin
Thank
glistening,
you.
okay?
Thank you,
Oiled
honey.
up,
Thank
hair
you.
is appearing, always together, okay? Baby, listen,
Thank
this is
you.
what 40 looks like, Miss Mamas. I can't wait to grow up.
And it's the fact that you keep saying it because, I think 40 is still young, you
Very,
know? And
very.
it's funny because I have to keep reminding myself that I'm 40 years old 'cause I don't feel like I'm 40. I
And you
remember
don't
when
look
my
like it.
parents were 40. And so I still feel like I'm your age, honey, whatever that is. I feel like we're the same
Early
age.
30. Early 32 next week. We're 32 next week.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
I love that. And even too, right? Like you're talking about being 40, you don't look 40, right? Like if I'm looking at you, to me, I would give you 31. Like I would think we're the same age, honey.
You know, thank you. I'll
Yes.
take it. I'll take it.
Take
Even if you're
it,
just being
girl.
generous, I'll take
I'm not
it.
being generous. You look amazing, girl. Okay,
Thank
so
you.
for those who, have never heard of you, tell us, who is Ashley Davis?
Well, I can't sum it up because this podcast is not long enough. So just very quickly, so I'm the youngest of five children. Um, and I come from a pretty, what I would call a big family, preacher's kid, military brat. So I don't really have like a home base. I never tell people where I'm from because I truly do not know. Um, I am someone who is still on this lifelong journey to find purpose and really do whatever the Lord has called me to do, whether that is in service, whether that is through music, through my singing, whether that is through journaling, writing, or just talking with people just like you. And so I am a corporate professional. I've worked at my current firm for the last 17, going on 18 years.
Wow.
Um, and I also love to do hair. I've done hair since probably 2004 is when I first started doing hair. So I'm also in the beauty industry. But I also love to mentor people, right, and help people to grow their businesses. And so there's so many different facets. Again, I can't tell you in this short podcast. But the main thing is that I'm a child of God. I'm a child of God, and I really, really, at this age, really honor where I'm at spiritually, right? And I reverence God in every single thing that I do because He's the way we live. He's how we live. The way we move. You're gonna definitely have to edit that. 'Cause I don't know what I just said. But there's a song. There's a song that goes, "This is my story." That song. You know the song I'm talking about?
Okay, so well, give me the rest of the song.
Girl, I don't know. It's been a long time since I saw it. Your audience will probably know. But anyway,
This is it. This is my story. I forgot, girl. I don't
the
forgot
way
because I got that one line. I feel like, is that a Hezekiah Walker? I don't know. I
I
ain't
don't
even gonna
know.
lie.
I
If
was
you
trying
know
to
the
sound cool.
song,
Anyway,
put it in the chat. Okay,
I
put
was
the
trying to
comment
sound
down.
cool. But at the end of the day, God is it. And he's a source of my strength. And the older I get, I realize how much I need him more and more each day. So that's to sum it up.
I love what you're saying, right? Like you have so many gifts. I think is so interesting too is I've had this conversation with a few people where they've said that they have so many gifts, like they don't know what God is particularly calling them to do.
Yeah.
And so for you, do you ever have that issue where you're skilled in corporate, you're skilled as a beautician, you can sing, you can do all these things. Do you ever wonder if there's a specific avenue that you should have chosen, or how do you balance having so many gifts?
Yeah, it's really difficult actually because I wonder all the time because I don't feel like I've truly just landed on any single thing. And I feel like I tell people all the time, I feel like I'm still pregnant with whatever that thing is and it has not yet been birthed yet. And he just gives me little by little. He never gives me the whole thing. I can never see
Mhm,
like the full vision. And I'm like, God, I'm 40 years old. At what point am I going to just wake up and know? And it's just like everybody's journey is different. Some people
mhm,
wake up and know at a very young age. However, you have others like me who are still trying to essentially figure it out. And what I've learned is just stay the course, right? Keep moving forward, keep putting one foot in front of the other,
mhm.
and God will order your path. And so wherever you go is where you need to be. The more that you focus on Him and seek ye first the kingdom, at the end of the day, along your path, you're going to run into people, and you're going to essentially make your impact through what you do on a day-to-day basis just by showing up and being who you are. And I think that's what he's been trying to reveal to me. It's like, actually, it's not one single thing, right? It's just
Mhm.
you being your authentic self and letting me guide you along the way. And so it doesn't have to be one set thing. And so I'm still on this journey to try to figure out that thing. But at the end of the day, I'm just excited just to be here and be alive and just I'm grateful for the grace that he's graced me with.
I love that. I love everything you're saying. I heard a pastor yesterday say that for people who have a lot of gifts, she said to just water them all. She's like, you don't
Yeah,
know what's going to sprout 4 years from now. You don't know what's going to sprout 2 years from now. She's like, water
that's
them
good.
all.
That's
And then
good.
when one particular, she calls it children, right? Like when the baby or the business gets like 4 years old, because you have a toddler now it's time to have another child. Like now it's time to put a little bit more effort in the next thing, and I just thought it was such a good idea, again, because this theme of having so many gifts, what do you do with that? And for her, she's like, well, if God is giving you all these gifts, it doesn't necessarily mean to always sit on one. It's
Yeah,
be fruitful and multiply, right? She brought up that scripture where God says to be fruitful and multiply. It doesn't always necessarily, mean children or, extending your family. It can also mean, what abundance looks like in our lives. It can pertain to
yeah,
our purpose, our gifts. And when she told me that, I'm like, oh, that is so good. Like, I'm going to hang on to that because that is so good.
yeah.
So
That's let me. Can I just add this one
go
thing?
ahead.
Because
Yes.
on the business side of it, they talk about mastery and how important it is to master something.
Hmm.
And so I absolutely believe that that is important when it comes to like your professional side. But however, when it comes to your all the different gifts that God gives you, again, I do think it's important, like you just said, just to water everything. And so I believe in mastery. I believe in honing in on your strengths, the thing that you really, really, really do best. But at the end of the day, I don't like to box God in. We don't know what He want to do, and God works best in our weaknesses, right?
Hmm.
And so the very thing that we think that, oh, well, no, I could never be that. I could never do that. That's where He's going to show up the most and the best. And so I'm not going to put Him in a box.
I
And
love
so
it.
I thank you for that. Yeah, absolutely,
I love
absolutely.
it. I love it. Not putting God in a box. I do think it's so important. And there's so many different ways I feel like we could go with this conversation. I feel like
Yeah.
the next thing I do want to ask you is when it comes to being a woman, right? Again, you're a woman in corporate. Do you feel like you've been sold this lie when it comes to being in corporate America about like the corporate world success? And I'm going to let you decide if you kind of want to throw age in there or not. I don't necessarily think age is necessarily important, but just like where you are right now, do you think that it's a lie?
So what I would say, I like to speak from a black woman in corporate
Mhm,
perspective. And I do that not to bring up race, but there is a distinct difference in your experience as a black woman in corporate America, period. And so it's something that I'm extremely passionate about because there's so many insecurities that just come up front with that between pay disparity, right? Between climbing that ladder. between that glass ceiling. At the end of the day, if you are black and you're a woman, it's going to be harder for you, period, in corporate America. And so, was I ever sold a lie? No. I came in with this weight on my back, knowing like, hey, it's going to be hard for you. And so, I never once thought that I would be in leadership. I never even, it took a lot for me to get where I'm at mentally, right? Because unfortunately, I wasn't sold a dream. I came in thinking like, "Hey, I'm probably not going to do that well here." However, I did better than well, and I owe that all to God because I didn't know that I even had any ability to be a true leader in this space. And so, there are no, I can't even say that. Like most people, like even when I was a youth, they spoke out against the rat race, the 9 to 5 rat race,
Mhm.
right? And so they never talked up corporate. And so it was actually the opposite for me. I was like, you know what? This is actually a great avenue to be in because of the stability. I got good benefits. I could pay all of my bills, and then look, 17 years later, I'm still here. And when you think about job stability, come on now, that's a big deal. And so I'm very grateful for my career in corporate. And I'm grateful that I ended up being on the other side of it to see how good it can get, to see, what, there are opportunities here, right? If I allow my confidence to increase. But again, there are those disparities that still exist today for women like me in this space. And so, um, yeah, definitely not sold a lie. However, I have some things to share, for other people. Just some warnings. That's it. Just a few warnings. If you are looking to get into this space, because it's all about strategy, and you don't want to come in not knowing, right? You don't want to just come in and think you could just move up because you're smart or you have degrees, because it does not work that way.
I agree with you. And I think what's so funny too is like my personal experience. I feel like it's a little bit of the opposite. Well, not a little bit, it is the opposite,
Hmm.
where I was sold this dream, even from college, even from middle school, from high school. You're gonna go and you're gonna get a great job. You're gonna be this very successful person. And so by the time I actually stepped into corporate, which was about 5 years ago, I came in like, "Ooh, like, this is cool." I feel like a big girl, and I feel like my managers made me feel like I could run this place. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
would say coming into corporate too, my mindset was, "I know this is just a start. I'm gonna give myself 2, 3 years max, do what I need to do, and then I'm going to get promoted." Like, I also came in with that mindset. I agree with you, right?
yeah,
Like, I came in with a strategy. And something in me knew like, "Oh, we're gonna get promoted. Like, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna glean everything we needed to glean in this season, then I'm gonna move." But also to what you're saying is there is truth. I think also being a Black, woman in corporate, I do see my counterparts get promoted a lot, sooner. I
hmm,
see how they can easily just network their way into opportunities.
yeah,
And sometimes it's a slap in the face, I'll be completely honest, right? Like, it's a slap in the
hmm,
face that when I'm in whatever industry I'm in, right, and I see so many other counterparts who are in those roles, but then I look at our people, and you know what I'm talking about, the
yeah,
department we come from,
absolutely,
I look at
absolutely,
that department and I'm like, it's Black people in this department, and Black people have been here 20, 30 years
yeah,
saying to me all the time, like, "I'm trying to move. I'm trying to, relocate," and they constantly feel stuck. "Crystal, how
yeah,
did you get out?" And I'm like, "I don't have a blueprint." Except for in the beginning, I always knew, right, like, that was my course, and so my heart does, sometimes break because I go to work and I see, the systemic part of corporate that you're right, people don't really talk about. How do you
yeah,
get out of that? And even when it comes to, getting out of that department or if you're trying to get promoted, we talk a lot, right, like about pivoting. What
hmm.
do you feel like pivoting looks like for you, whether it's in corporate or for you, like in your life right now? What does that look like for you?
Well, first of all, I mean, it knowing how and when to pivot is a big deal. You know, coming up in my career, so when I first started at the firm, I got promoted very quickly, just out of the blue. Like 6 months, I got my first promotion, and 7 months later, I became a manager. and I had a team and we were flourishing, and then the business changed. And then the firm decided they wanted to lay off 20, 30,000 people over the course of just a few months. And so they did what was called a restandardization. And essentially, they took a lot of the managers' teams away, and then they aligned me to one of my peers. As you can imagine, it's really affected like my ego. And at the time, my mind wanted to say, okay, just keep pushing forward, find another role, whatever. But I was angry. I was upset because I poured a lot of, heart and energy into my team. And again, like I was saying, they were flourishing. So I really did not understand how someone like me who was doing so well in that space could end up working underneath a peer. And so instead of pivoting, I ended up getting stuck because I was angry. And so what I would say is like it's important, like I said, to know, okay, it's time to strategize here, right? Figure out where you want to go next. Don't be upset because the anger is not going to get you anywhere. Um and so I do think that piece is extremely important. Like you have to know, okay, there obstacles are going to come. That's just life. Things are going to try to get in your way and stop you along your journey. However, you cannot allow yourself to get stuck. Like in today's time in business, they talk about having a growth mindset. I think that's extremely important. And so, with this growth mindset, you want to be sure to always be thinking about forward movement and not letting anything hinder you from accomplishing your goals, no matter what it looks like. That's why faith is important. That's why networking is important. That's why getting around people who are like minded, who are also on that path forward. And that's kind of where I messed up because I did not have the right community. I did not even know how to talk to people. I was just scared of people in general when it came to my career. I was scared to ask for help. And so the pivot just never happened for me back then. It wasn't until years later when I needed some more money. I was like, listen, okay, something got to change, right? And then that's where that grit and that resiliency came in, and me just really having a fight to be able to push and move forward and actually pivot the way that I needed to.
I love what you're saying, in a sense of the growth mindset. Because I also think, right, like the theme also of today is strategy, right? Part
Yeah,
of the growth mindset is having a strategy for life when it happens. Something I also struggle with is also being angry and upset when things happen.
yeah,
And I was used to tackling every issue as it came. Which I think
hmm,
for me is not a good method because if you're, upset today about something and then tomorrow you're upset about something else. And so now I'm putting all this energy into every single thing versus having an overall strategy. Like when you get
yeah,
upset, this is exactly what you're going to do every single time. So I already know that challenges are going to come, like you're saying. I already know what the strategy is. So now I'm growing in that and I'm putting my
hmm,
energy towards, other things, which I love. And as we're talking, I'm also thinking about you talking about growing and finally getting the courage to get to a new role. In order for you
yeah,
to go up or to improve or to do anything, you have to leave behind, the old
yeah.
version of you. What do you feel like you had to leave behind or grieve in order for you to get to this new version?
Ooh, oof. That's a big deal. Wow, that's a big deal. My plan, the way I wanted to do it. I learned there are a lot of, them Tony Robbins sessions, right? I've been really big into like self-help and stuff like that or whatever, but I learned that I was like a perfectionist apparently. And some would say like a control freak. I think that's crazy. It's so crazy, but whatever. But like when I have a plan, I like things to be done a certain way. And so what happens is when something is not linear, like when something is not okay, it throws me all the way off and I start to spiral. And so I had to let go of the way that I thought I was going to accomplish whatever. And then I like to do it in my boundaries. Like there's like I this is about to sound real bad. It's about to sound real bad. I really never had to work that hard for a lot of stuff because I've been naturally gifted. Like growing up in school, I was just naturally smart. So I didn't have to study a lot. Stuff came to me very naturally. I've always been a creative and I could always just figure stuff out. And so I never just had to work real hard. That's why I don't like working out. Because when I'm breathing heavy and I have been like, oh, just push harder. I don't like that. I don't want to push harder. I want to get results doing it.
Today.
You know, and here's the thing, you can, because you can walk 8, 10 miles. Yeah, you could have done it in two if you ran, but I'd rather just walk the 8 miles, easy breezy, right? So I may spend a little bit more time, but I'm not going to be out of breath. And so for me, I really just never liked working super hard at anything. And I know that sounds bad. Um, my when it comes to like putting forth a lot of effort into something, I like it to be on the creative side, right? And I like that part to be after I've already figured it out. So at this point, I'm just essentially like dotting my I's, right, and crossing my T's. However, I've already figured that thing out. And so I'm not necessarily working hard to accomplish the thing. I'm just working hard to fulfill the thing that I've already accomplished. And so for me, yeah, I just had to get out of my set ways and set mindset on how I thought it should be. And that was extremely hard for me because I'm really stubborn. Girl, you know me. I'm real stubborn. I'm like on my time, everybody wake up early. I don't wake up early. It's just not who I am. I'm not. And here's the thing, like I feel like night owls, like people that have a different circadian rhythm, we have a hard time at life because we're not on everybody else's schedule. And a lot of people, they're really offended when it comes to their time. However, I am a true night owl. I literally wake up as soon as it gets dark and I fall asleep as soon as the sun comes out, right? So imagine how that has affected my work life. It's been extremely difficult. And so I like to do things the way I like to do them. And unfortunately, that stubbornness, it has kept me stuck in a lot of different places because you're not always going to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, how you want to do it. And so that comes with some maturity. And at the end of the day, somebody said, listen, you got to grow up. You got to grow up.
Mhm.
Right. And I joke with people all the time, I'm like, man, you're so responsible. You're so responsible. And sometimes I just look responsible. I look really responsible. I really do. I look real responsible. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Like, you look
But,
like you
but
got it together, okay?
Yeah. And so sometimes it's easier just to look that way, right? And so I have managed to get by with a few things because I know how to show up, right? I'm just saying. Strategy. No, but for real, I think like just that old man, that old mindset and that hard-headedness. And so I had to put my gloves on and I really had to become extremely resilient and have a lot of humility. I had to go and apologize to my bosses and I had to be like, "Hey, what can I do at this point? What can you show me? What can you teach me?" I had to ask people for help. And when you're as independent as I am, that is extremely difficult to do because I've always felt like, well, I really don't need help with anything. I can figure it out. But at the end of the day, I really feel like the Lord has put us all here to support and partner with each other. And until you understand that, society, oh, me. You got this. You can do it. You don't need anyone else. If we continue on in that mindset, I don't think we're going to be as successful as we think. And at the
Mhm.
end of the day, we're all going to hit a wall and we're all going to end up stuck somewhere or not able to move forward until we realize we need each other, period.
Mhm. I have been looking, into, like, some business courses the past few weeks, looking at different, like, millionaire entrepreneurs and, really getting into their brain, like, how do they think, right? And
Hmm.
everything that you're saying well, not everything, some things that you're saying to me reminds me that you are an entrepreneur, right? Like entrepreneurs
Mhm.
naturally go against the grain, right?
Yeah.
Like corporate
Yep.
has a standard, you're working 8 hours, you're here from 8 to 5, 9 to 5, or whatever it
Yep.
is. Entrepreneur is like, listen, I'm not gonna sit here and work hard. I am going to find an alternative way and I'm gonna get it done
Yep.
quickly. And so that's
Absolutely.
just who you are, right? Like you're literally acting in who you're meant to be, entrepreneur. And
Mhm.
so my question for you is when it comes to full-time entrepreneurship, because I believe you're gonna get there, like I see it all over you. Do you
Mhm.
feel like you would get there, like eventually to entrepreneurship to where you're living life like on your own terms?
Absolutely. It's gonna be on God's time though, not my own.
Mhm.
And there are certain disciplines that I have to learn before He's going to take me to that next level. And so I'm like, I don't know why I'm still at this company. I don't know why I've been here for so long. But what I've learned is okay, if I'm going to be here, okay, what are you trying to teach me? What do I need to lean into while I'm here? And when I finally opened up the doorway to be able to get that answer, when I tell you, man, I've had so many opportunities come my way. And I've seen so many just resources and so many avenues that I can take where I'm at to be able to kind of pad my resume. So when I do get out there, I'm going to be unstoppable, right? But however, I'm not just going to be unstoppable. I actually have I I have over 15, 20 years of experience in the corporate space to bring to the table, right? So there's a lot of professionalism that I can bring in, especially in the risk mitigation space. Um, Even when it comes to small businesses, because we don't think about that. Everybody just tells you to bootstrap, but nobody's thinking about, okay, you need to prepare for winter. And at the end of the day, like, it's not if something is going to happen, it's when. And so when you have when you are pursuing any type of business, I think it's extremely important to know and have a strategy for when things start to decline. Okay, how do we pivot? And so you need to know that up front before you ever begin. And most people just tell you, no, you don't think about all that. Just do it. Like the sign, like you said, just do it. I absolutely will eventually become a full time entrepreneur, whatever that looks like. And the Lord is absolutely going to open those doors. And so I'm just waiting patiently this time instead of trying to do it my own way. And I'm excited for when that is to happen. And now at the beautiful age of 40, I have so much more experience. I have so much more wisdom. I don't just run and jump in anything. I think about the risk that are involved with each and everything. And so it's just I'm gonna be so much better off moving forward when I do, finally venture off into whatever space that is. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. And even as you're talking, I'm thinking about how involved you were where you still are in the department I came from. You're very involved, right? Like
Yeah,
I'll see you,
absolutely.
planning events or just being around other people, encouraging people. And that's what I love about you is that again, you have so many gifts, right? Um Also too, where you were talking, I'm also the same way in the sense of if you've been in a space, sometimes you feel like too long, there is
Hmm.
still an assignment that God has given you, in my opinion,
Yeah.
that just has not been done yet. And so one of the things I
Hmm.
had to tell myself was don't abandon the assignment. I'm
That's
still
good.
here. I'm still here. Like, there's a reason why I haven't moved to the next level. What does that look like? For me, it
Hmm.
looks like being open to having conversations with different people. Sometimes it looks like, okay, I got to go pray for this stranger because God is like,
Yeah.
hey, go and pray for this person. And I'm like, Lord, I'm ready to move. Like, I'm ready to get out of
Yeah.
here. And He's like, don't abandon your assignment. You're not done
Hmm.
until you're done. You are not finished
Yeah.
until you're finished. And so I love that about you too, right? Is that even in a space where you feel like you've been in a place too long, you still get to see different versions of yourself reemerge. You continue to reinvent yourself. And I
Yeah.
think that is very admirable. So kudos
Thank
to you,
you.
girl.
Thank you.
Um,
And can I
let's
add one thing? Can
go
I add
ahead.
something? Everything is not about you. And
Mhm.
that's one lesson I had to learn. It's just like when we especially when we're trying to pursue career goals or anything that has to do with us making more money and establishing ourselves, because a lot of times we align it to our identity. However, everything is not about you. And so I had to learn, like, Ashley, whatever God wants you to do, you're going to have to get out of your own way and get out of your own
Mhm.
head and quit focusing on you and look around, right? He's got you there for a reason. And I talk to people all the time about wanting to make an impact and be an impact. And it's just like, how do I do that? And a lot of times it's not these big things. It's these little things. To your point, it's about having conversations, just smiling at somebody. We learned that one of our coworkers committed suicide,
Mm.
and they didn't find his body until like 2 weeks later. And I'm just thinking to myself, okay, well, he got a job. So you mean to tell me nobody from work went and checked on him? Right, you're supposed to do those well. And so to me, it's just like the people that you work with matter. At the end of the day, God loves them just the same way he loves you. And so I just think it's extremely important just to take the focus off self and
Mhm.
really hone in on thinking about other people.
I agree with you. Nothing you say everything isn't about us. Honestly, none of it is about us. And I think too,
Yeah.
like living in this American culture, even when it comes to
Mhm.
culture, the church has done a terrible job. Just the overall church, not, a specific church, but overall, in my opinion, the American church has done such a terrible job of teaching that this walk with Christ is about sacrifice. It's also about selflessness and it's about
Yeah.
pain and suffering. We're
Yeah.
supposed to suffer, but we get
Yeah.
uncomfortable, right? And then I think sometimes the pastor is like, hey, you're uncomfortable, but the Lord's going to deliver you tomorrow. And God is like,
Mhm.
but that's
No,
not, that's not right. That's not biblical
my
teaching.
grace is sufficient.
My
Yeah.
grace is sufficient and God promises to walk us through it. And even though we hate the pain, a lot of the things I do now honestly came from it was all birthed from a really tough place of pain. And I finally
Mm.
said, you know what, Lord, I'm gonna stop playing with you because I played with the fire too much. And so
Yeah.
I've seen what disobedience looks like and it wrecked me. I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm gonna live for you now. And within that
Yes.
year of me like fully going from him, or sorry, going for him, he gave me, the vision to do the podcast, to do the Bible studies, to, put out the books and to do other things because I finally gave him my real yes.